am a futurist, and that means I spend a lot of time thinking about, writing about, and speaking about the future. And when I speak about the future, I speak all around the world. And I'm so enthusiastic about it that I tend to speak for an hour and a half to 3 hours. So this is a real disciplined effort for me. So let me get right to it. A lot of humans have a very odd reaction to change. Most humans I meet are kind of resistant or unsettled by it. A lot of other humans want to embrace it, but don't know what they're embracing. They don't know the uncertainty that they're embracing. So what I want to do here is to give you the high-level flows that are, will, and for the next 20 years, shape and form all the change that humanity is going to experience. Trends are kind of sub-outcroppings of these flows. So whenever you see a trend, you might be able to relate it up to these flows I'm going to share with you. Now, it is a wonderful, transformative time to be alive. We obviously live in an inflection point in history. We're in a new century. We're in a new age, the shift age, a name I've coined and I'll describe to you briefly in a few minutes. And we're in a new decade, the transformation decade. Again, definition forthcoming. But we are also a little more than 1% into this new millennium. Now, the last time that sentence could be said was the year 1011. Depth of the Dark Ages in Europe. Vikings ruled the seas. If you will accept an easy premise to accept right now, that the speed of change right here, right now, today, is 10 times faster than 1011, then all the change that humanity has experienced in the last millennium will be the amount of change we experience in the next 100 years. If you accept from this futurist the probable argument that the speed of change is 100 times faster today than it was in 1011 in the depth of the Dark Ages in Europe, then all the change of the last 1,000 years that we, humanity, have experienced will be the amount of change we will experience in the next 10 years. Now, that may come up against some of the laws of physics that people who follow me on the stage might refute with me, but somewhere between 10 and 100 times speed of change. So all of the change of the last 1,000 years, we are going to experience between the next 10 and 100 years. So what is the shift age? And what are the three fundamental forces that have, are, and will, for, I'd say, the next 15 years, reorganize and reshape humanity? The first is this flow to global. We're obviously getting organized around all of us. The global economy, the macro. There's no larger economic unit than all of us. But it's beyond that. We are in the global stage of human evolution. We've gone from family to tribe to village to city-state to nation-state. Our only remaining boundaries for now are planetary. So we are in the global stage of human evolution, and that means that the word globalization is no longer just an economic term. It is the term describing what will course through all aspects of human society for the next 15 years. So we're getting organized around this flow to the global. At the same time, we're getting organized around this flow to the individual. Now, one of the reasons this has happened is over the last 30 to 40 years, there's been this explosion of choice. We have more choice in every aspect of our life than we did 30 or 40 years ago. And when that happens, something very significant occurs. The power moves from the producer to the consumer, from the institution to the individual. So we as individuals have more power than individuals have ever had in human history. If you grew up 20, 30, 40 years ago in a city that, say, had 2 newspapers and 3 television stations, that was your choice for information. Now, if you're connected to the internet, it's unlimited choice. So unlimited choice brings all the power to the individual. So we're getting organized around the macro and the micro. There is no smaller economic unit than the individual. And both of these forces are amplified, but what I will submit to you is the single most powerful flow and force on the planet today, which is the accelerated electronic connectedness of humanity. It is so powerful. Let me give you an example. When I was researching this book I was writing in 2007, I was fascinated by the trajectory of connectivity of the internet, of cell phones. And the greatest minds in telephony in 2007, when asked the question, when will we, humanity, reach 3 billion cell phone subscribers? They all said 2010. Why did they say that? Because it took 20 years to go from the first cell phone subscriber to the billionth. Then it took 4 years to go from 1 to 2 billion. Wow. 500% increase in the rapid rate of growth. That is just so fast, we'll project that linearly into the future. So 2006, 2010. I bought into that. I'll never buy into that again. And nobody in this room should ever buy into the mistake of taking the overwhelming rapid rate of change that is occurring right now and project it linearly into the future. Because here's what happened. We crossed 3 billion cell phone subscribers by the end of the first quarter of 2008. There were 700,000 cell phone subscribers on the planet in 1985. So every single day from the latter part of 2006, all 2007, 2008, there was 1.5 million new cell phone subscribers coming online a day. Then we crossed 4 billion cell phone subscribers in April 2009, and today we are at 5.25 billion cell phone subscribers. Now, we've all read the news recently. All of us together represent 7 billion of our species. So what does that mean? Out of that 5.25 billion people who have one of these, they aren't all like this, but they have a cell phone. For 3.5 billion of them, it's the first phone they've ever had. Imagine going from no phone to cell phone. Most everybody here went through the landline. There's a whole leap with cellular. For 3 billion of them, it's only wealth transference device they have. They have no bank accounts. They have no credit cards. This has brought economic leverage to the third world for the first time because it gives everybody a chance to connect. If you lived in a sub-Saharan village up until recently, you would take your goods, your craft goods, your agricultural goods to the next biggest town and go, what do you pay me? That guy would lowball you because he was the only option. Now you have a cell phone that you can call around. Economic leverage. But what this really means is if I was calling Bob here, who's 10 feet away from me, if I had Bob's cell phone number, I think I do, if I was to call it, right, 1-1000, 2-1000, 3-1000, 4-1000, 5 seconds, Bob's phone would ring. If I were to call China, 12, 14,000 miles away, because of the relay of the satellite, maybe additional 2 seconds. So what 5.25 billion cell phone subscribers means is the difference between 10 feet and 12,000 miles is 2 seconds. So for the first time in human history, it can be said there's no time or distance limiting human communication.